Hello. You are watching an informative video to learn more about an English word. Perfect. P-E-R-F-E-C-T. Perfect. Definitions of perfect. Adjective. Having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics, as good as it is possible to be. Perfect.
Hi, everybody. I'm Liam. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm here with the fantastic DW.
What's good, beautiful people? I'm DW. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs. And Liam and I, we've been kicking it since elementary school. And you are listening to What's Perfect Really podcast.
On this podcast, we talk about moments in music and the impact those moments had on our lives, our friendship, and the world.
The world.
Yeah, everything.
Our mission is to bring light to the perfect moments in music we think deserve a little bit more appreciation. And today, DW, I'm going to make a case as to why Zealots, Miss Lauryn Hill's verse on Zealots off of the Fugees album is the perfect moment in music.
Okay. So her verse, not the song necessarily, the verse.
The verse. Got yes, it. The verse. Thank you for that. So let's get into it. What is the song about? So Zealots, had to go in to get.
I don't even know what Zealots means. I look at a phrase I hear get thrown around and I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I got the definition. Okay, so good. I could read it aloud. This is a quick Google definition for everybody. A person who is fanatical and uncompromising in pursuit of their religious, political, or other ideals. So in this case, for the song, a person who is a fanatic about biting the styles and rhymes and flows of the Fugees. And so there's a whole song about people just biting their style and them talking about all the different ways you need to just pause and hold and chill and do your own thing and kind of get off of me. Okay. So the song, they kind of encapsulate all of those pieces of stop biting my style.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That's
which is a lost aspect of hip hop. Rappers no longer care about biting styles. It's like a free for all.
Yeah,
this was a big deal back then.
It was though, because you had your flows, you had things that were specific because people were really into their originality. That's kind of funny though how that's transferred from
totally changed.
This from 96 to what year is it? 2022.
Yeah, if you go to if there's like a rap feud right now and one rapper says the other rapper is biting his style, you sound like an old head. And like, I think all the young listeners are just gonna be like, we do not care.
Nobody cares. Like, I was in the car once with a young person. I'm like, yo, because I always, I work with young people so often. I'm like, play me some music, and like played some music, and I was sitting and I was like, I can't really understand it. You know what I mean? It was kind of mumble rap era, as we say. I don't know if we're still in it, but that was happening. And I was saying to myself, but I'm listening to the lyrics and actually what they said didn't make sense. It made no sense. It was something, I can't even remember the lyric, but it was something like, I'm going to the store, but I don't go to the store. Okay. It was, I can't. I wish I had the lyric, and I'm not going to say the artist because I don't like to be all negative and stuff and be like, yo, that was whack.
I'm curious though, but okay.
Okay. I'll tell you. It was, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. A famous artist or like some obscure artist?
Like super, super, super famous. And I was just getting to know their crew, know? You know what? It was a lyric from one of the, I don't know if it was, who's it? Offset, Quavo, and who's the other person?
Is it Takeoff?
What's that group called?
Oh, the Migos is the group.
Yeah, the Migos. Yeah. And I was listening to some verses and I was like, yo, this verse is, I mess with this verse. But then there was another verse that came on. And you know how I think this is in line, having three people.
Yeah.
When you have three people on a track, it's so easy to compare.
Of course.
And so when I was on the track, I was like, yo, this verse is hot. What is this person saying right here? Like, what are they even saying? They don't make sense. Their sentences don't even make sense. And it's not even not on the hot verse. Not on the hot verse. The hot verse was hot. The other verse, I was like, it's like you're saying things and then you're taking away I couldn't even explain it right now. Let me concentrate. Concentrate.
Fucking you all up.
Yeah,
it made so little sense, like even describing it or explaining it.
It was
brings me into confusion.
I don't even know what song it was, but the person I was talking to was bopping so hard to it, and I was listening to the lyrics.
It broke your brain. This verse like broke your brain. You can't do
did,
anything.
and the whole song, I was just so focused on that one phrase that I couldn't hear the rest of the song. And I was like, that's a like an old school hip hop person for you. Yeah. I'm so focused on. They're like, but it's the vibe. It's the vibe. Yeah. I'm like, all right, I get it. But anyway, so that happened. Something perfect that happened in your week since the last time we've been on this podcast.
Yeah, I went to a big fancy gala. I got to dress up in a tuxedo. I looked like James Bond. It was dope. I liked it a lot, especially because we're kind of like sort of coming out of the pandemic, kind of. It was one of the first
told
like
you
big
you
events.
look like James Bond?
I told myself. I announced this to everyone that came up to me, but no one like argued with me. So I take that as a win.
I see you. You bring what you need in the room.
Yeah. So what about you? What about your most fantastic moment? Got you on the spot. You don't have no James Bond gala moment, do you?
Nah. Definitely not a James Bond gala moment. Oh man, that no, I don't have one of those. What was fantastic this week? I mean, perfect for me this week. So I'm gonna go with maybe something simple that I've been doing these weekly check-ins for community members through the work that I do, just to check and see how people are doing, give them a space to let off whatever it is they need to let off so they can go into the week and feel healthy. And I stopped doing them. This last week, I've been doing it for a year. And then this last week was my last check-in. And it felt so good to release something off of my plate. Even though I love doing the check-ins, it was really nice to be able to just go ahead and know my capacity and step back from it. So I think that was a perfect moment for me. All right. So let's get into this Zealots. Because we have been talking about it, and I didn't want to say much because every time we get on, we start talking immediately about the song and all the things.
Before the podcast starts, yeah.
And I'm like, no, don't say it. Don't say it. All right. So let's go. What's happening in 1996? All right. So in 1996, some things that are popping up for me. Independence Day, the movie, box office smash. Jerry Maguire is out. I remember the movie Twister.
Yeah, I love that movie. It was like the different levels of Twister, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's a level 5.
Wait. Oh, right, because they were chasing. Was this the one where they're chasing tornadoes?
They're chasing tornadoes, and as they experience each tornado, they like say, "Oh, this is a level such and such," and it's like, "Oh shit, there's even a higher level than this one." And it's like it's progressive.
Okay, and they wanted to release those little metal balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Things in the thing. Okay, to track the storms. Okay, right. No, I thought I remembered it, and when you said it, I was like, "Oh no, I don't remember," but I do. Okay. Also, Macarena.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't associate that with.
Did you do the Macarena Did you do the Macarena?
I think everyone has done the Macarena. I don't think I've successfully done a good job at the Macarena, but I have done the dance.
This was like the thing at the party, when I don't know what grade I was in, but I remember being at a party and then, you're awkward in middle school, stuff like that. And you're having these parties and people are playing music and nobody really knows how to dance. And you have the one dancer who's like, do that dance. Yeah. And I remember doing the Macarena at some party. And
were you the one that could dance?
I was the one. So now when, here's the thing. When people ask me, especially when I'm in spaces like workspaces, anybody asks me if I can dance, I say no.
Yeah.
I have 2 left feet. I have no idea how to dance.
Yeah.
Right. Because I just don't, it gets annoying when people are like, you walk like you can dance. You move like you can dance. It's like, man, I'm not dancing for nobody. Get out of my face. Show me something.
That's
No,
very annoying. I agree with you.
it is super
Anytime
annoying.
like someone asks you to perform on a spot for their amusement,
Yeah.
regardless of like what your day is going on, it's just like, leave me alone.
Yeah, like who are you? Get out my face. So Boyz II Men, One Sweet Day. Boyz II Men, Mariah Carey, One Sweet Day.
Okay.
Celine Dion, Because You Love Me. Yo, I bopped to Celine Dion.
Yeah.
Celine Dion bops. Okay. This is very significant. The slang words.
For
some of them. Now,
1996.
this is popular slang words, right? So you don't know. You wouldn't be in the gully like Big L talking about you know the song I'm talking about, the Big L song?
Ebonics.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Okay.
It's commercial type words.
Mainstream slang.
Mainstream.
Got
Booyah.
Is that one of them?
Booyah is one of them. Psych.
Psych.
Oh, you
That
fly.
one didn't age. Yeah.
Fly. Look, I still say fly. I still say word.
Mhm.
It's
Word,
just-
I think, is pretty timeless.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, quick aside for word, I recently was in college again, and I was like the old guy in class. And of course, you have like group
Yeah.
projects, and like you're collaborating with this group, and like you're coming to decisions together. And you know, after the group decides on something, there's some sort of like,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, word to kind of confirm that we're done talking about this topic. And so for me,
Yeah.
I'd be like, word. And then the kids are like, the other kids I'm with in my group who are like 20 years old would look at me, and I knew they knew what it meant, but I think they were just like not expecting that word to be the word I used.
Oh,
Just this
wait.
moment of like, damn, this guy's old, isn't he? He just says some washed shit.
What was it? Saying word like you're old, or because you don't seem like the type of person who would say word?
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
What did they say?
They were pretty straight down the middle. So it was engineering students. So I guess we're not the most like culturally like depthful group. But yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Liam be out
The
here
fact I
like,
said that would usually like make the meeting
Here's-
awkward for me.
here's
At
the
least.
projectile. The projectile of this, and that.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And 1996 Olympics. This is classic. The Olympics were in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Big thing. Dominique Dawes. Shout out to Dominique Dawes for being an incredible Black gymnast. Yeah. So so many things happened. And the women's soccer team, I believe, won the first ever women's Olympic gold medal in soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fly. So now we're back to these zealots biting. People just biting stuff.
Yeah.
So the reason why I picked this song is because, well, it's off the Fugees' The Score album.
Mm-hmm.
And the album has a lot of like dope hits on it, all the things. And but
Massive
this
hits, all-time hits. Yeah.
massive. What is it? It's Killing Me Softly.
Yeah.
Ready or Not.
Yeah. Fuji La La.
Fuji. Oh yeah, Fuji La.
Yeah. Those are the biggest ones, but
those are the biggest ones.
Killing Them Softly was like, I mean, that song took over the globe.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing. And also, you know, on this album, I remember there were so many samples that they had on here that they had the Ready or Not. I think they just did it without permission, and they had to go through all that lawsuit stuff.
Copyright.
Who is it? Enya? I don't know, but they sampled somebody. But they had the Roberta Flack sample on "Killing Me Softly." I think it was Enya that they sampled on "Ready or Not."
Yeah.
And then Fuji La sample, I imagine. Like there was just because it was hip hop. Hip hop, it was straight samples.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. This is the time where samples are a big part of it.
Right. Which is always like that's the birth of hip hop, the samples.
Yep.
All right. So this verse comes out. What makes it so dope is that there's a group, and we talked about this with Diggable Planets, right? How Ladybug was in this group just kicking these dope rhymes. And because Ladybug existed, now we have the Fugees. Yeah. And Lauryn Hill, or Miss Lauryn Hill. I want to make sure I'm properly acknowledging it's Miss Lauryn Hill now.
Is that what she prefer? Is that like, is there actually like a preference for that?
When you go on the tracks, Spotify tracks and stuff like that, it says Miss Lauryn Hill.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so I'm out here paying attention to these names. So I hear this song and I'm like, all right, you know, when I first hear it, first of all, I had to look up the word zealous because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So
and one of us did,
yeah. I hear the song and I'm like, yo, Lauryn Hill is dope. I mean, Miss Lauryn Hill is dope.
Yeah.
Miss Lauryn Hill is dope. And the thing about it, there's so many things that happen in it that we're gonna get into. but it was almost like it erased every other verse. You know, Wyclef is talented. I already know how you feel about Pras, and we have this conversation often. When you have a group of three people, you can't help but compare, just like we did with Amigos, right? Just like we're doing even with Diggable Planets. And also, it's hard not to put this verse next to this verse, because even when MCs get on different songs, you're like, whose verse was the best verse? Who went last? And going last is a big deal. I don't understand why Pras was last on this song.
You mean like close the song out?
Close the song out. I don't. That wasn't the move. That wasn't the move.
Well, it could be that like it's like, damn, we got to put this motherfucker on this song. Like, all right, just put him at the end. Yeah.
Like switch it. I mean, you know, okay. So granted, I'm sure they're all talented, but what was really the most relevant to me also in that era is that what's the name? Lauryn, I'm just gonna say Lauryn's verse. I acknowledge it, Miss Lauryn Hill. I'm acknowledging it.
Yeah,
Lauryn's verse, because what was so dope about Lauryn's verse to me was that it was the first time I could recall hearing somebody spit something that was so. It was almost like every time Lauryn spit something, it was about, I'm holding my education. Like I just have my education and just Rolodexes, a Rolodex of memories of my educational experiences, like from the world, from books. And I'm just putting it in there. And it's the first time I heard it, you know, and I listened. And so there's some lines in here where I'm like, oh, snap. And then when I actually went in and looked at the lyrics, I found myself saying to myself, well, damn, you were never really paying attention.
Well, damn shit.
like where were you? Where were you when this was happening? And I had to ask you, I was like, what is some of this stuff, right? So
there's some vocabulary in this verse that I as a listener, I've loved this verse forever. I'm glad you picked it. I would have picked it if you hadn't. But I've heard this song a bazillion times over the 25 years it's been out. I guess more than 25 years now. And not until you picked it where I actually had to look at the lyrics. There's so many parts in the verse that I actually never noticed that I didn't know exactly what she was saying. Not because she didn't enunciate it or anything like that, but just because it just went over my head. And I was like, I liked it so much to begin with. I was like, I don't care. Just going to enjoy the experience and rock with it.
Yeah, but that's also too, when you talk about tone sonically, Lauryn has a really beautiful tone. It's so nice the way in the talent behind the singing and being able to edge that into being lyrical. And it's almost you can tell what I love about writing. You could tell what people read in their rhymes. You can tell, at least I think you could tell what people read, what people are into. And Lauryn Hill be on some other shit, like some other stuff all the time. And it's refreshing. It's refreshing when you come into 1996, when a lot of things, hip hop, it was kind of like the golden era of rap music. In that way, from 96 to the 2000s, a lot of things are happening. And also you had rap where people would compare Foxy, Lil' Kim, Lauryn, like all those people coming out and say, like, you know, Lauryn wasn't doing all that extra stuff. But I think there was a lane for everybody. And again, here goes this comparison. And I thought that it was incredible for when Lauryn came out, I saw me because I had locks. I was dark skinned, you know, even though Foxy was dark skinned, Foxy didn't have locks, you know, and Lauryn was speaking the language that I spoke, you know, or at least speaking closer to the language that I spoke. And so it felt like a revolution every time I was listening to Lauryn. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Let them know, you know, it always felt like my voice, it seemed that my voice was being heard through whatever lyrics Lauryn was kicking. So when we get into it, I feel like the whole verse from top to bottom is just so dope.
It's a perfect verse.
It is. It literally is the perfect verse, right? So, behold, as my old manifold on your rhymes, two MCs can't occupy the same space at the same time. It's against the laws of physics. Let's just put that in there. So just thinking, I think that's two objects can't occupy the same space in physics at the same time. So when we talk about people wanting to be something or wanting to repeat or jack somebody's style.
Yeah.
You can't be me while I'm being me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And when I was looking at the lyrics, there's certain things that popped out to me. But man, this verses.
What's
incredible.
dope about that? So like you have a lot of rappers, this whole thing about biting my style and like This is big back then. Lauryn Hill's talking about it, but she does it like it's against the laws of physics. Like she doesn't clearly state that's exactly what she's talking about, but everyone knows. And it's just in a metaphor that's like, it just lands so dope. And of course her voice is dope when she says it. And she kind of like gives it a moment to breathe. Like it's against the laws of physics. And then there's like a little pause.
Catch up with me. Catch up with me.
Exactly. Yeah. Flex on you real quick. And then.
But I think that's also too, what you're saying, Lauryn always flexes. Flexes like, let me drop this. I'm gonna let this instead of saying a lyric here on this beat, on this 4/4 beat. What is this on? 1, 2, 3, 4 on the not on the 1, but like on the 3 or the 4. I'm gonna let you think about what it is that I have to say. You know, when you get into even, I love this line, so weep as your sweet dreams break up like the Eurythmics. The group, the Eurythmics wrote Sweet Dreams.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Sweet Dreams are made of thee. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, here we go. Giving it to us again. Rap rejects my tape deck, ejects projectile. So rap rejects. I think it's very clear what they're talking about. It's very clear that Lauryn is like, yo, just stop. Just stop. Like, I'm not even gonna put you in my tape deck. Yeah. Like, it's not, you don't belong there.
It'll fly out if I even put it there. Yeah.
Right. Right. And then it's a projectile, right? Ejects projectile. Like it's kind of a violent, explosive. It doesn't even belong there. It won't even, the tape deck resists whatever it is that you're trying to put in there. Whether Jew or Gentile.
Do you still own any tape cassettes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a whole shoebox full that I haven't listened to in Brazilian.
Ironically, I think I might own the score on tape deck. Whoa. I know I have it on CD. And I definitely own Janet Jackson tapes for sure. Like, unlock. I thought about giving them away. It's just really hard. It's really hard.
Oh wow, it's a sentimental value.
Right.
A piece of you. I got it. Okay.
So Lauryn Hill goes on talking, and I love, I'm thinking Lauryn might really like science. Because here we go, many styles more powerful than gamma rays. Yeah. My grandma pays. Like Carlos Santana plays Black Magic Woman, right? So my style's more powerful than gamma rays. My grandma plays. What's that play on words called? DW, what is it?
Yeah, I don't know what the
Come on, arts education.
It's not alliteration. I know that.
Well, I mean, it's
like
not alliteration.
Rhyming alliteration.
Because it would be G for alliteration. Yeah. But let's skip that because my brain can't find it.
No, but Lauryn Hill is doing this thing where it's like tightly coiled, and it's not like it's not waiting for the end of the bar to be the part that rhymes. It's like in the bar is rhyming.
Right. Couplet. So I'm thinking, I'm like, watch it. And every time I go off, I'm like, oh, is it a couplet? And then I go off and I go look it up and I'm like, this is a couplet. Just the double entendre with the Big Sean. I was like, that's definitely a double entendre. And I went home and I was like, that's a double entendre.
Oh yeah. I wish I was more help in these situations, but I'm not.
It's all good. It's all good. So I'm just going through the verse and saying like, yo, it's amazing. So then we get to this part where, so while you're fuming, so I'm thinking, so here we are now. I've done talked about you. And now you're fuming. I'm consuming mango juice under a Polaris. All right. What's a Polaris?
So I've listened to the song, like I say, for a long time. And I just kind of like not zoned out, but like I just took it for what it was. I didn't think much about this word Polaris other than the fact it rhymes. So and it's funny, as we do these perfect songs and I go and I look on the internet of like, the lyrics sheet, it's usually it's the first time I'm ever seeing the lyrics represented in, I guess, the way that the artist intended. And I have my own experience with the lyrics that has been my whole life, right?
Facts.
And then I kind of have this decision point. Do I want to listen to the song how I used to listen to it or how the artist intended me to listen to it? Side note. But this word Polaris is one of those things. I had no idea what she was referring to. It was just in the song to me. But Polaris is another word for the North Star, which you would make the connection to as the star that slaves would follow when they were running away. which is,
Yeah.
to me, that shit is like, wow.
Yes, right.
I was consuming
now,
this like it was nothing. And meanwhile, it's a super deep connection.
okay. Now let's read the line again.
Okay.
So while you fuming, I'm consuming mango juice under a Polaris. It just takes off.
Yeah.
The line just takes off. And then, we'll go back because hear me, right? There is AABB format.
Okay.
So while you fuming, I'm consuming mango juice under a Polaris. You just embarrassed because your last tango in Paris, because it's your last tango in Paris, right? Polaris, Paris, and even after. Oh, let me not get to that line yet. Hold. So you just embarrassed because it's your last tango in Paris. Mango, tango, Polaris, Paris, right? Consuming. Wait, was it fuming? Consuming. So there's these moments where you're just like, how are you thinking of this?
Yeah.
At least I'm thinking about that. Like, how are you even? Are they just coming to you? What's happening here?
Yeah.
And
it's like effortless talent. Like,
yes.
especially in rap music, you hear rappers who are like trying to impress you. So
yes.
as we make this comparison, at least as I make this comparison between Pras and Lauryn Hill, which I've made repeatedly through the podcast. And I'm not trying to slam Pras. I'm making more a point of when something is truly like elevated to a next level, when you compare it to something else that's quote unquote good, and it's so far above that, that's what makes it almost a special moment where you get this direct comparison. And with Lauryn Hill, it's like effortless. Like she doesn't even need to try and she's flexing on you. And it's like, it just sounds like she rolled out of bed and was like, I'm gonna do this rap real quick and then go about my day.
Yes.
Where Pras is like, oh shit, man, I gotta like spend a week writing this and it has to be like macho and the whole thing. So
yo, facts. And when you were saying, what was it? Fitting the words in, some people try to fit words in. Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie called The Program? It's this old movie. With Omar Epps. Yeah. Do you remember the character Omar Epps?
Not really. I just remember the movie. There's like a steroid dude.
Yeah. So it's this movie about football, college football, and Omar Epps' character needs a tutor because there's this hot shot. I think they're a running back or a wide receiver or whatever. Yeah. I think the tutor is Tyra Banks or
oh wow, yeah.
Halle Berry, somebody. I think it might have been Tyra Banks, and I don't know, somebody.
I think it was Tyra Banks. I'm now reflecting back.
It's a tutor, and there's this one press conference where Omar
Epps. You? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Really embarrassing personal story. So Tyra Banks was a big deal in the mid 90s, and this is like when I'm like 15, 16 years old. So this is like the time where like guys like, oh my god, this is a big deal. And so this is also the time when like you could make your own email finally. So like I created my own email and like I was like 15-year-old me or probably 14-year-old me created an email. And it was Tyra Banks is hot at like whatever, like
oh gosh.
Something. It was a terrible thing, which everyone has done this, right? But then of course I didn't think about it at all. Like it just disappeared into the ether. And then I had like an actual email. And then I'm in college like years later. And I'm taking some sort of like internet class, whatever that means. And the teacher's like showing us how to like search for stuff. And I just get randomly picked out of this class of 50.
Oh, no.
And the teacher's like, watch, I'll find your email. And I've totally forgotten about this 14-year-old Liam email. And then the teacher somehow Googles it. And then this pops up as my email. And it's like connected to my name. And the whole class like turns around and looks at me. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And the teacher was like, no, I think this is it. Because the teacher doesn't know Tyra Banks or any of that. So yeah, it's like, be careful when you're like 14. The internet will save that and forever haunt you.
It could have been one person in the class, but how many people were in the class?
There was like 50 people in the class.
Oh,
it was a whole thing. And they spun around and looked at me. And like,
oh man, that's a great story. That's a great story.
It's an awful story. But.
So Omar Epps
yes,
is this hotshot athlete, but doesn't understand words. And so in one of the interviews, Omar is like, indubitably, and says something in an interview like, oh, I'm going to do this indubitably or whatever. And Tyra's like, do you even know what that word means? He's like, nah, but it sounded all right, right? And this reminds me of the things where you listen to people who rhyme and you could tell they're trying to fit words in. You know what this reminds me of? That moment with T.I. T.I. was rapping on Live Your Life. Hey. And there's all these different words. I'm like, Did you go into the dictionary and was like, let me find this? Did someone ghost write this for you? How'd you jump from this to this? I'm not saying you're not capable, but how to go from here to here. But it was like, that's what it sounded. That's what Omar Epps, when I'm thinking about effortlessly versus someone who's got to put a lot of effort to put those combinations together.
Yeah.
And it's multisyllabic. There's a lot of multisyllabic words. Did I say that the right way?
I think you did.
Okay.
Again, I'm not the authority on any of the topics here.
Because sometimes I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. So here we go. All right. Now we get into the line of the century. So you embarrass because it's your last tango in Paris. And even after all my logic and my theory, I add a motherfucker so you ignorant niggas hear me. Whew. Oh my gosh. So after I had listened to this verse, the first time I listened to this verse, and I was like, damn, physics, eurythmics, projectile, percentile, gamma rays, grandma plays, mango juice, Polaris, Paris, and hitting me with the theory.
Yeah.
Oh, you put a motherfucker in there so you ignorant niggas hear me. Oh, so you didn't hear the whole verse. Just in case you didn't hear that whole verse, let me put something in here for you.
Yeah.
Because this is how beyond I am. This is how above and beyond I can do this. Like you said, I wake up like this. I wake up and I do this. And let me just put a motherfucker in this verse because I done said some shit. I don't think y'all hear me. So now y'all hear me. Yeah. I just thought that was the slickest thing ever.
Yeah. That might be the best rap bar ever. I'm not just saying that because we're talking about this verse. Like literally, like that might be the best rap bar ever.
When I thought about it, when I was when I was researching, I was like, oh, Zealots. Oh, yeah. Because I had a really hard time trying to figure out what Lauryn Hill song to use because there's so many things that Lauryn does that I'm just like, yo, I could do something that's really simple. And Lauryn does a really great job emoting through the music. And so there's some simple, like very not complex things or songs that Lauryn is composing or singing a part of, but she makes it complex because of the way that she emotes on a song. And that to me is just the dynamics, the dynamics that she carries in her lyrics and her presentation and the way that she approaches songs is so simple a lot of the time, but it's so dynamic as well. And, so we go after that line, I'm thinking to myself like, the verse is over.
That would be a good way to end it.
Right. Crew, remember, take notes as I sow my rap oats. And for you biting zealots, here's a quote.
Yeah.
And that's your quote.
Yep.
And I'm like, what a quote. That's a quote to have right there. So, I mean, the rest of the song is every time I play it, I don't even listen to any other part of the song. It's just turn up the Lauryn Hill verse.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you?
It's the same for me. I will listen to the Wyclef part. Luckily, and this is why I did, luckily Praz is at the end because once that happens, I'm like, phew, or pretty much once Lauryn's verse is over, I'm fast forwarding to the next song. But it's just such a talent, like Goliath Lauryn Hill is. And the fact that like you can actually debate, is she actually a better singer or rapper? And she's so epically good at both that's insane that there's like a debate about what is she better at. But if you were going to, in my opinion, if I was going to pick like the best example of her is an MC, I'm sure there's other songs where maybe the depth of the content and lyrics is more or any of that. But just as an MC, like a rapper's rapper, not a female rapper, not none of that, like a rapper's rapper. This verse is like, wow. Like it's just, there's not even like ad libs or like crazy stuff going on. It's just like old school, like an MC's version of what they would want to do. Even the beat is like that. The beat is just this very short loop that repeats the whole time. During the chorus, it's not built up any differently. The only thing that happens is occasionally they drop the drum out for, a line of impact, which the ignorant line is one of those ones. And I just think this is an example of like a perfect MC and stands out.
I love how you say MC because I think often people feel the need to differentiate female versus male MC.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because people who have bars, they just have bars.
Exactly.
You know, and Roxanne Shante, and I don't know if this documentary I was watching, and it was talking about the first ever rap battles that were happening. And, you know, people were just, you know, going in, and Roxanne Shante was like 14 and got to the end and demolished whoever the opponent was. And this is the first like rap battle ever, and rap was coming to the forefront. And it was clear that Roxanne Shante demolished this person, but then got these really low scores. And in the documentary, the person was saying rap is taking off. And if the face of rap is a 14-year-old girl, nobody's going to take rap seriously. And that to me, that's the epitome of how people view MCs that don't happen to be male identified.
Yeah.
When it's like there's so many people that are writing behind the scenes. I think Angie Stone writes for people too. You know, there's so many people who have written, so many women who have written for other MCs that are male identified. People have called me and been like, can you write this verse for this person? You know what I mean? And tons of times I've written for people who are writing, and then I, you know, even having this producer and be like, yo, I can write this verse if you need to. And they're like, my artist is having writer's block and they could use a writer like you. You know what I mean? Like, you weren't going to pay me what I need to be paid, so it wasn't going to happen. But just these thoughts of people thinking that this doesn't exist, but it's always existed, you know? And so I really appreciate how you're just saying MC, the lyrics, just as an MC, being able to view it. And also, I was hearing, like, during this era, because Lauryn was doing so many dope things that a lot of MCs were afraid to have Lauryn rap on the verses, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying I wasn't there, I wasn't in the place, but I always wondered why, if I ruled the world, Lauryn was only on the chorus. I always wondered why, because I always thought that Lauryn would have like a really dope verse. There's a really dope song with Lauryn on chorus, but I was wondering why didn't put Lauryn in a verse? You know what I'm saying? That probably would have been hot. So I always go back and think about the songs. And most of the songs the duets that Lauryn does with Nas, I don't think Lauryn is rapping.
Yeah.
Is there a recent one? There might have been a recent song that I think Lauryn might be rapping for the first time.
Yeah, I know there's like some like resurfacing of Lauryn Hill and new music, not from the old, but like her partaking in some of the new artists or artists releasing new stuff. I think one thing about Lauryn Hill as an artist that's interesting, particularly, I would say even more so as a rapper, is usually with rappers, there's this huge body of work where there's like catalogs and catalogs and catalogs of songs and verses all over the place. With her, there's not. You know, her career was actually, it's long because she's still relevant today in the sense like the amount of time that has passed during her career. But the amount of work that has come to fruition from her career is actually relatively short. So you really just get these little moments that are like timeless. And a verse like this is a good example where it's almost, in certain regards, you could look at it like not that you feel bad, but you were like, damn, like, look at all the talent that was there. And, you know, for a lot of reasons we can talk about, she kind of felt disenchanted with the industry and decided like, nah, I don't want this for my life. And I'm an amazing one of a kind talent, but I'm going to completely step away because I just don't like this. But
yeah, totally. Now I was thinking about Lauryn's career, like Andre 3000 in a way. Even though there's more catalog on Andre 3000, but having these spots and verses where people are like, oh, you got to get Andre 3000 on the verse, and Andre 3000 just drops rap verses unless there's the Love Below and Speaker Box. And on the Love Below, Andre 3000 is singing.
Yep. Mostly.
So you don't get all of what is possible with Andre 3000, but maybe we have enough.
Yeah.
Enough to still be delighted. And I think with Lauryn, there's enough for me to be delighted. And I could go into all these back and forth about, well, this happened in the world, and you know, this is a human being, you know, those kind of things, the conversations that people constantly have. But there's some classic, beautiful moments that Lauryn has brought to music And I'm just thankful to be able to have ears that can hear them.
Yeah. It just shows the quality over quantity argument. Lauryn Hill has that in spades. Just her quality of her content was so amazing that even though there's not a huge catalog, it's timeless. It'll translate across different continents, generations. She's one of those artists that'll still play this music a long time from now.
Yeah, and I was on YouTube and people had a lot to say. You know, it was interesting to people to listen and hear what people had to say about it. I know you'd be in the comments. You
totally be in the comments. So there's two things. So
okay,
one part of the comments that I liked was the best rap bar ever. So she uses the word ignorant, but she doesn't say it ignorant. She says, and I guess ignorant.
Yep.
But she announces it perfectly. It's not like it's not mushed together. It's like, no, I'm going to say it this way because this is the correct way for this culture to absorb this word.
Oh my gosh. Can I interrupt you real quick?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So this is exactly what I don't know if I was having this conversation with you, but this is the thing about when you go to art school. There's writers in the room. We would have to do this thing. We'd have to pass our writing around. And I would write and I would use what we call Black vernacular. Most people call it AAVE, or African American vernacular, but I would use the language that I know, like speaking my tongue, and it would often be labeled as incorrect because this doesn't go here. You can't put, this proposition before here or whatever. And I would say it is correct. And we would have this, I would literally be going hard for my writing, and it's one of those things when you're in a room and the other Black people in the room are just like, I don't know if I want this kind of smoke because I got to come back to class next week, but I wanted all the smoke, the smoke, every single class. I was out here giving people, just dropping mad colloquialisms and stuff like that of Black vernacular. And every moment they would be like, when you look at something like Lauryn Hill saying ignorant niggas, they'd be looking at me like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, it makes perfect sense. Maybe not to you because you're not the only person who speaks on earth.
Yeah.
Right. But I think this is a great moment where it's right on point when you're saying, even in the word ignorant. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna let you go now. Go ahead.
So she says this word and she says it perfectly. Now there's in the comments this challenge of, okay, how do I spell this word? Because ignorant has a correct dictionary spelling. Ignorant is a word that it's just used between people.
Right.
So there's 6 different spellings in the comments of how do you spell ignorant? And there's like every weird way you could think of. But I thought that was interesting. But I do respect the commenters because again, they didn't write ignorant because she didn't say ignorant. She intentionally says it's something different. And although it kind of means the same thing as ignorant, it kind of also doesn't. Like there's a connotation with it. And I think there's some words that we use that are just like the and duh. Like you are saying the, you're just doing it, in this kind of like different vernacular, and we can go into the whole thing there. But I feel like there are certain words, and especially someone with Lauryn Hill's mind, that it's not a coincidence. It's not just, oh, well, that's how she grew up, so she speaks that way. It's like she's saying more than just a word in that word. And that one specifically is part of why it's such a great line in hip hop history. It's like there's so much in that one word that gets communicated, and it can go over so many people's heads and they don't even realize it.
Yes. Yo, okay. So when I'm looking at the line, how did they spell it? On where the version of the lyrics I have, they spell it IGNANT. How they spell it on the comments?
So instead of an A there's like an I, there's an E, there's a double G. There it's like there's 6 different versions I saw just in the little brief time I went through the comments. But there's a consensus that that's the standout line of the song, and people who are echoing what we're saying right now. And
so then the I add a motherfucker. That's how Lauryn says it.
Yep.
In the spelling I have here, it's spelled with an ER. How would you spell it?
Like that one, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I guess I would add a motherfucker. I guess that would put an A, or I don't have a strong opinion on that one personally.
Because when you think about it, in like rhyme scheme, if you say I add a motherfucker, so you ignorant niggas hear me, it doesn't go with the A. So I add a motherfucker, so you ignorant niggas hear me.
Yeah.
Right. That's what makes it flow. more because the connection between the A's that go through the sentence, right? That's called something, but whatever.
Yeah. And it's interesting. So there's one person is writing their comments and they're reflecting back on like a middle school project where they had to present this song in English class in this verse, kind of like we're doing right now. And they play the song in class and they're playing the whole song, I guess the verse, and she doesn't really curse except at this exact moment. Yeah. And this person says at that moment, the teacher ran as fast as possible to the boombox and like unplugged it or smashed it to just stop it. And it's just kind of this interesting moment because Lauryn Hill isn't just saying it to say it like as a trashy word. There's a lot of thought, intent, and intelligence behind this word. And it's funny that the English teacher just didn't get it and just heard a curse word. And it was like, oh my God, the kids are being poisoned by curse words. And just how like, it's interesting how people can experience something and because not necessarily through a fault of their own, but just their lack of awareness on what's actually happening can totally perceive it the wrong way. And then you have this miscommunication happening between two groups where it's like, actually, no one's coming from a bad place, but you're missing what's beautiful, what should be bringing people together, pulls them apart in this moment.
Yeah, no, I think how you put that is beautifully put, is that the thought of language we often find as a way to divide us, but it's something that can create celebration and uplift us too. And also language, I think we kind of dissect it and say like, oh, this person, by saying ignorant, you're not educated and whatever that means. Right. So then you distinguish yourself from someone else, or you separate yourself from someone else with being part of an elite, an elitist, intellectual class versus being someone who's using the word ignorant. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So
can I tell you one thing that this verse stands out to me as a revelation for my listening experience as a consumer of hip hop music? So
yes, tell me. This is different than your fantastical moment though, right?
This is, because the fantastical moment is the bar that we just talked about. That's it. Like we can, we'll be quick when we get there from me.
Okay. All right.
But 14-year-old Liam, this album comes out. I think it's one of the first albums I bought, or like my dad maybe bought for me. And I'm listening to it and I gravitate to the song, certain songs first, and then some songs I don't like till much later after I've listened to the album like 100 times. And this song is one of the ones I used to skip past every time. I was like, this song sucks. I don't like this song. And I didn't care about it. And then slowly, like I migrated to like loving the song. And it was one of the songs I would replay the most as time went along. And I had to do the self-reflection. I was like, well, why is that? Like, why did I not like it? And now I like it.
Yeah.
And then this revelation hit me that when I first listened to music, I listened to the beat. I don't care what as long as the rapper is like serviceable. If I like the beat, I'm like, this song's the best song I've ever heard in my life. But as time goes on, it's like a good rapper, like a great rapper, like a great verse. That is what has the replayability. And that's what I gravitate to over a longer time. So this was a song, again, like a perfect example of me realizing, it's the rapper in the long run that really is the reason I appreciate this music. The producer, the beat is great in the beginning, but a good rapper will let you be able to replay this forever.
Yeah. Yes. And go ahead.
This song was my moment of realizing that.
No, that's dope. I agree. To be able to find layers behind writing every time you go back to it. There's whenever I hear a song or a verse written by Lauryn, is I can go back over and over and over again and get something new from it, or like a new revelation in my life. Oh, let me go back and listen to this verse right here. That makes an exceptional MC. And Lauryn Hill is by far one of those.
Yes.
So what's your dad have to say?
Okay. So the question is, do you think my dad knows who Lauryn Hill is?
See, last week I was upset because I really wanted your dad to know who Frank Ocean was. I really wanted your dad to know. So I voted off of my emotion.
Yeah.
I wasn't using my logic or my theory.
Yeah, this is a logic exercise.
So your dad, where were you all in 1996?
So this is when we lived near you.
Okay. 1996. Your dad, where was your dad working? Can I get some stats here?
Yeah, I mean, my dad
not too much,
time.
But...
Yeah, my dad was a lawyer and he was in the Air Force.
Okay.
2
Lawyer,
jobs.
Air Force.
Amherst, Massachusetts.
Okay. Because I'm thinking Lauryn later goes on a Grammy tirade, I believe, in 1998.
Yeah, for her
So I'm
own
thinking,
album. Yeah.
Yeah, Lauryn is huge. Lauryn's in Sister Act. I don't think your dad watches soap operas. I don't think your
No,
dad
yeah,
saw Sister
he
Act
doesn't do that.
2. I don't think your dad saw Sister Act 2.
My dad never has mentioned Sister Act 2. He may have seen it, but he's never brought this up in a conversation.
Does your dad watch the Grammys? Okay, so Lauryn Hill was polarizing. At that time, it was kind of like Alicia Keys. Ooh, I'm on to something. Your dad knows who Lauryn Hill is.
Okay, let's find out.
Do you know who the artist Lauryn Hill is?
Oh, Lauryn Hill, yeah, the Fugees.
Yes. And it wasn't even a solo. Knew Lauryn Hill from the Fugees.
Yeah, he knew this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, wait, did you say your dad bought the CD or did you buy the CD?
Well, I mean, I don't think my dad like bought it for me. Like, Liam would like this Fuji CD. I really feel like I've heard good stuff about it. Like, I just know I had it, and whether I purchased it myself or like my dad, I was at the store and like, Dad, can you buy this CD? And like covered like the parental advisory part of it. Like, it's not a big deal. I forget that part, but
yeah, but your dad said the Fugees.
Yeah.
Didn't even say the Miseducation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Dad, I see you out here. You make up for the Frank Ocean right now. So fantastical moment.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got to cut you off one more time. So
Okay,
my YouTube comment, I talked about them using the different spellings of this word ignorant.
Yeah.
But there was another one where this person has a paragraph, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, and this hit home for me. So the person was like,
Okay.
I have a question. I don't understand why Pras doesn't get appreciation. He's a valuable member of the group. And they had this whole like after school special, like appreciation for Pras, right? So I read the whole thing. And for those that don't know, I use Pras as the example of like, he's actually not that good. And like, I read this whole thing and I've never downvoted anything in YouTube, but I couldn't wait to downvote this thing. So Pras appreciation got a downvote from me on YouTube.
Oh man.
And
That's a go ahead.
Okay. So did you ask me my fantastical moment?
Yeah, your fantastical moment.
Is what we
Yo,
talking about.
I can't believe you went and it's like, I can't wait to do this.
I could like, I almost didn't finish the comment before I downvoted it, but I did finish the whole thing. I was like, all right, it's not a joke. This guy's being genuine. He's doing the Pras like moment, especially on this song. Like, come on, like, all right.
Okay.
Maybe this song. Remember, Pras had his own song, "Ghetto Superstar."
Yeah. With my
I'm down. Like, appreciate Pras there. Like, he did his own thing, but like, not here. Like, this is not the time and space for you to like. Yeah.
This is a Miss Lauryn Hill thing right here. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Fantastical moment.
For me, it's the greatest rap bar ever.
It is the greatest rap bar ever. After looking at the lyrics, however, I have a different one.
Okay.
So while you fuming, I'm consuming mango juice under a Polaris.
Yeah, because that went over all of our heads.
It did, but the imagery of someone steaming and someone sitting down under the stars, just consuming mango juice. That to me, that image describes the entire verse. Like, this is easy for me.
Yeah.
It's
my
easy
light
for
work.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's light work.
Yeah.
You go ahead, copy this. Do what you got to do. You know, my genius is forever.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
yes,
we invite you to take what you want and take what you don't want from the podcast, because wait.
Take what you want and leave what you don't want.
Oh, you know what, Liam? Why don't you close this out? Hold up. Let me back us up a little bit.
Yeah.
Look, if you have a song that you've listened to or a moment or perspective you want to share with us, hit us up at whatsperfectreallypodcast@gmail.com. Or you can share a story with us on Instagram at whatsperfectreallypodcast. Now, Liam, I'm going to give you this line to close us out.
Okay.
You got this? It seems like you're on point right now.
We'll put my James Bond picture on Instagram so people can see me flexing, you know?
All right, let's put your James Bond picture on Instagram. Close us out.
Okay. We invite you to take what you want from the podcast and leave what you don't want, because ain't nobody perfect.
Yeah.
Hello. You are watching an informative video to learn more about an English word. Perfect. 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 Definitions of perfect. Adjective. Having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics, as good as it is possible to be. Perfect.